Welcome back for more from our workshop in the 2021 NICE project. She was just having a nervous. What
Mhm.
what, what was the some of the
Temporary nervous depression, a
temporary nervous
slight
depression?
hysterical
Depression.
tendency.
Yeah, temporary nervous
Yeah.
depression,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think that's pretty interesting too. Just the language used and takes us back to 1892 for
That was
sure.
their history
Mhm.
at that time. So
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about the woman in the wallpaper and the heads, and I'm gonna pop up a visual. I'm working on a kind of a digital thing. This one is not finished, but it's a start, and maybe you'll be able to see the women in my wallpaper. I don't know, but I tried to find some and the mushrooms because didn't we have toadstools? Yeah, an
I do see your
interminable
mushrooms.
an
Oh, I see your women.
interminable string of
I see the women.
toadstools budding and sprouting in endless convolutions. I adapted some Art Nouveau, beautiful, beautiful Art Nouveau images, and I worked on layering and cutting and putting them in different shapes, or not shapes, but orientations and layers and everything overlapping each other. And this is something that I came up with, and so it's not done, but I'm working on it. And to me, I mean, the woman and the heads, in the wallpaper, I feel like that a very kind of obvious is that kind of what you were saying, Deborah, the narrator woman and the woman in the wallpaper are all women. Any woman, right? I'm every woman, or whatever that song is. I can't sing, but you know what I mean. It's
Mhm.
it's all the women, right? They symbolize everybody. But I just wondered if anybody else had any ideas about what the woman and or the heads symbolize to you.
Well,
Deborah?
I think it's what we have been talking about the whole time. It's
Mhm.
the oppression, and it
Yeah.
can be many different forms of oppression. And we've been analyzing this from oppression of women. Definitely, it needs to also be taken as the sort of stigma against mental illness
Yes.
at
Thank
the
you for
time.
bringing that up. Yes. Yes.
Right. And relating to the question we were just talking about, was she mad from the beginning or is she driven mad? I
Mm-hmm.
think she has at least a predisposition,
Mm-hmm.
because early, even on the first half page, is the reference to a temporary nervous depression, a slight hysterical tendency.
Mm-hmm.
So the predilection is there. The environment is what really stops that healing
Mm-hmm.
and really makes that come out.
Yeah. And I
So
think I think definitely at the time this book came out in the 1892, and really even today, I will say I have heard people say, "Oh, the artistic temperament." If you're an artist, there are still people who look at you as, "Oh, you must be slightly crazy because you're an artist and they have this temperament."
Yeah, I just saw the Van Gogh exhibit again yesterday. So, we're talking 1880s, 1890s. And that was all about insanity. So
Yeah.
I got a theme going on this week.
Anyway, sorry, my husband was poking his head in the door and I told him to go away. Anyway, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought.
we're talking about what the woman in the head
Yes,
symbolized.
and I feel like you're very on point, both of you, to discuss the idea of mental illness and creativity and artistry and crazy artists of other, Van Gogh is a good example, but and I think that in some ways the way the woman in the wallpaper changes in the perception of the narrator, the way the narrator sees the woman
Mhm,
evolve
mhm.
is almost like an evolution of a personal journey a lot of women could share about either mental illness or postpartum depression or getting out of a abusive relationship or any kind of confining situation. I don't know how else to really describe that, but where you feel like your freedom or your creativity is being suppressed or oppressed. And on on that kind of takes us back to what we were talking about at the beginning, Sarah E., when you were talking about, hopefully the author's own, racist opinions of the time aren't a complete barrier to all kinds of people, reading this book and getting something from it. Because I do feel like the journey of this patient, quote unquote, who is undergoing this rest cure, quote unquote, how she manages to fight against it within her own mind and conquer
You
it.
just froze, Alice.
Oh,
I can hear her.
okay. And even if it seems like a crazy ending, quote unquote, she conquers what she sees as her battle to free the woman in the wallpaper. She believes she has done that, right? And she has, become that woman. So she's freed herself. It's a circular kind of argument I'm making, and it may not be perfect, but I do feel like that's kind of what the main imagery comes across for me, at least in the passage and in the book. I think the opposition of opposing forces in this book is very powerful. There's a lot of X versus Y in this book, a lot of different kinds of X versus Y. So, Sarah E., did you want to say anything more about any of those kind of opposing forces or anything like that?
I do, because I'm having an aha moment here.
I had a feeling you were.
Oh man, I'm feeling it coming here. It isn't our narrator who is bad. It isn't John who's bad. It isn't the woman creeping behind the wallpaper that's bad. It isn't all the relatives that are bad. It isn't even the cure itself and the well intentions behind it that are bad. It is the system. It is the pattern of oppression.
Yes.
And I think that, yeah, definitely Gilman was a racist. But I think our understanding of racism has evolved, that we can be the most well-intentioned people in the world and still buy into a system that is bad.
Yes.
Without
Yeah.
being fully cognizant it is bad. And so
Yes.
I feel like there's a new twist to put on this in recognizing John's not bad.
Yeah.
Not a bad position. It is the system. It is the pattern of oppression that is bad.
Yes, and that brings us, again to what you were saying about, modern feminism is about, making equal, raising up, however you want to phrase it, any oppressed person, right? Doesn't matter what the oppression is about. It's, feminism is about trying to ensure that every human being is treated equally under the law and in society, right? And so I feel like the issues in this book, although on one level they're very specific and they're very oriented to, postpartum depression and this rest cure treatment being bad, and like you said, those kind of things. There's the book and can be, read in context with the modern world and some of the things that are happening in today's world around us now. We see a lot of these same kind of issues, obviously, not just quote against women, but against all kinds of groups of people, and that's what I say we, NICE, Community Education Arts. That's one of the reasons we do this project, is we want to raise awareness that we're for equality for all, and you're right, we are not perfect in knowing everything about everything, and we may think that we're all wonderful people, but we have to dig deep and look hard. And some of these books really help us do that. Join us next time as we continue with our workshop discussion for the 2021 NICE project.